All right, but let's get back to the news of the day because there is a lot. First, this, the U.S. is making a new military move to challenge Iran, sending more forces to the Middle East in response to potential threats against American troops in the region. The Trump administration announced yesterday that a U.S. aircraft carrier and a bomber task force are being sent to areas closer to Iran.
President Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, says it sends, quote, a clear and unmistakable message to the Iranian regime. He says any attack on United States interest or on those of our allies will be met with, in his words, unrelenting force.
America's going to be destroyed. That's why America's going to be destroyed. And if you ain't right with the Most High, you're going to be destroyed with it.
Right.
So you white people, all I can tell you to do is live it up.
Right. Yeah.
If you never went to France, take that credit card, max it out, and go to France. Take your kids' college fund money and go down to Disney World and stay down there for about a good month.
And you talking about...
You devils are going down, man. America's going to be destroyed. You know that, son? You so-called white man. You know that America's going down?
It's good, man.
What do you know about America going down? What do you know about that? How's America going to go down? Since you said America's going to go down. Huh? You're right. But ultimately, how is America physically going to go down?
Professor Morandi, this deal, as it was signed, Iran gave up many things in order to make sure that this deal was actually going to come into fruition at the time, called the JCPOA. At this point, with the U.S. calling for talks, it doesn't seem like there's any way that Iran is going to accept that. So what is the next step over here? What can the U.S. do in order for Iran to accept it? I think that Iran has said only a return to the JCPOA will suffice right now.
Yes, that's the only solution. The United States left the negotiating table. It wasn't the Iranians. The Iranians were sitting with the P5+1, both under Obama and under Trump. If you recall, the first Secretary of State of the United States under Trump, Rex Tillerson, he participated in negotiations with the Iranians. So it's the Americans who withdrew, and the Iranians believe that there is really nothing to talk about. The United States has committed itself to a nuclear deal. It's an international deal. It was negotiated for many years. And the very fact that Trump has torn the deal shows that the Iranians really can't trust the United States. So how can Iran negotiate with a person or with a regime that may tear up a future agreement? In addition to that, the Iranians believe that this could only be appeasement. If Iran allows the United States to behave in a thuggish manner and then get concessions as a result, that will only encourage the United States to repeat this sort of behavior in future. So it's really impossible for the Iranians to accept negotiations under these circumstances. Of course, the United States will continue to say, and you'll see Western think tanks say, that Iran will ultimately accept, or behind the scenes they're going to talk, but that's simply not the case. Iran won't negotiate.
Looking at some of the analysis that's being made, they're saying that Trump is using the same handbook that it did with North Korea, with Iran. Of course, two different completely ball games when it comes to these two countries. But the issue of a guarantee, is there any guarantee that the U.S. can give Iran when it comes to any type of, I don't want to say negotiations, but even if they were to come back into the JCPOA, that they wouldn't at a future date withdraw again or throw in something in the wheel there?
The only thing that would be acceptable would be for the United States to show that it is trustworthy and that it is committed to its agreement, especially since the Europeans have shown that they are spineless and that despite their protests that they have been unable to disobey the Americans, and they have been in complete violation of the nuclear deal. It shows that the lack of trust and the untrustworthiness of the United States is even more important, because if the United States remains unreliable, we know that the Europeans will be unreliable. So the only way forward is for the United States to show goodwill, and the way for it to show goodwill is to go back to the negotiating table and to accept the commitments that it has made. And we have to keep in mind that even under Obama, the United States was not committing itself to the JCPOA. The United States from day one began violating the agreement. Even during on the very same day that the two sides signed the JCPOA in Vienna, the United States began violating the agreement. But under Trump, he's just gone rogue completely, and the Iranians have no option but to resist, to push back, and to see if the Americans are going to come to their senses.
Give me a sign. Thermonuclear destruction.
That's right.
You've been talking about going into Iran for the last couple of years, and they're gonna get into Iran. Once they get into Iran, that's when the Russians are gonna back them up, and then there's gonna be a turmoil over there. And then once the Russians get involved, they don't give a shit. They're gonna bomb your ass. But guess what? Not only the Russians, but your allies, like France, like Germany, like Great Britain, like Turkey, all of them are going to shoot missiles on America. America's going to be destroyed. And it ain't going to happen no 100 years from now.
Right.
All right?
Very soon.
Like your pastors say, it ain't going to happen no 20 years from now. All right? All right.
Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 11. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage.
Right, the white man, it don't have to say Esau. If it says, oh my destroyers of my heritage, you know it's talking about the so-called white man.
That's right, man.
Because those are Most High's heritage. His people, the nation of Israel.
That's right.
So you crackers got a lot to pay for, man.
Yeah.
You devils are going down. You're at the end of your world. Give me Job 14 and 5.
Coming right up.
See, there's a certain time limit, man.
Yep.
You Romans went into power, and there was a certain time limit when you were going to be brought down. The Egyptians went into power. There was a certain time limit where they were going to be brought down. The Babylonians, there was a certain time limit before they went down. And their time limit was 70 years. But the Most High cut that short a couple of years. So, you're at the end of your world. You enjoyed yourself. You lived deliciously, Mr. So-called white man in America.
Right.
But now you're going to lose it all.
Right.
And Evelyn Rothschild, I don't give a damn how many warlocks you have, how many witches, I don't give a damn how much shit you done dug up on the other side of the world.
Yep.
You're going into slavery. Like I said, Evelyn Rothschild and the Rothschild family, the living members of the Rothschild family and the Rockefellers, they're not going to taste of these missiles.
Right.
They're going to be shackled up. All the money that they have, we're going to get everything, all the assets that they have, that they possess, it's going to be transferred. See, money is never lost.
Lost, right.
It's transferred.
Right.
In the form of gold and silver.
Right.
So all that money that Evelyn Rothschild has and the Rothschild family have and the super rich families of the earth have, the things that they possess, including their slaves, is all going to be transferred to us.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing. Very soon. And the only metal that you won't be associated with, you Rothschild, is that some chains is going to be shackled on your ass.
Right.
All right? Go ahead.
Isaiah 60 and 12. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall...
The sons also of them that afflicted us, starting with the white man, going down to the Moabites, the Chinese, the Japanese, the East Indians, the Africans, all them different nations, the Arabs, go ahead,
shall come bending unto thee.
they're going to bend. What does it mean when you bend down to somebody? That means you bend down to your Lord. We're going to be the new lords on the planet Earth.